everyone. I'm Diana Gieman-Wallach, hosting the Iris Pod from the Call and Contact Center Expo at Excel in London. And my guest, David Darcy from RingCentral, for our first live podcast of the day. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Hi, Dave.
Dave, sorry. Probably start that again, maybe. Dave Darcy.
Only my mum would ever call me David.
David, okay. That's if you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Well, forgive me. Welcome, Dave Darcy, to our live Iris Pod. I just listened to your talk that you just gave at the keynote on everything about how to make our agents happier, tackling the rise in agent overturn. That's a big topic. It's something we talk about a lot as well. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and what prompted you to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge issue within the industry. I think people have to have come used to the idea that working in a contact center isn't a step on the way to something else any longer. It's an opportunity for people to build a true career. And to do that, we have to demonstrate to our employees that there is a proper career path there, and we have to make them want to come to work and enjoy what they're doing. And the reality of it is that attrition is a massive challenge. And the best way that we can make our employees want to stay with us is to make them happy when they're working. I've said in the past that a lot of companies do an awful lot of work around driving customer satisfaction and net promoter score and measuring those and making changes to their processes and their offerings and their products in an effort to drive that customer satisfaction. But we all make the statement that happy employees will make happy customers. So my view is that why don't we start at the beginning then? Why aren't we beginning by measuring our employees' satisfaction and, more importantly, the ease at which our employees can do their work? Somebody, I have no idea who, but somebody famously said, do something you enjoy and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so, make it enjoyable for people to come to work, make them motivated when they're in work, give them the right development, the right help to be their best self, and they'll continue to come back and drive great careers and drive great customer experience.
Absolutely. And naturally, that'll also drive better customer interactions because the contact will be more human, more relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was one of the things that I talked about on stage just a few minutes ago was that there is an opportunity for us to use the type of artificial intelligence that exists in the way of chatbots and natural language understanding and natural language recognition and such like that can take the very mundane work away from the human agent and allow the human agent to deal with the more complex issues or the more challenging issues that can be challenging positively or negatively, but that's where they can add really the most value to that customer. And customers, we need to understand that we want customers to have a relationship with us. When it's not a transactional world that we work within, it is about driving that relationship. And the best way to drive that relationship is to make it a more personal conversation, a more personal interaction that makes the customer feel affiliated.
Yeah, and you said something really interesting in that talk about how you wanted to make it easier for agents with using technology so that to field the more important requests to the human agent, because the human agent was the biggest asset in your call center. So that for us it rings very true because it puts voice as a premium, right? You only get the most important calls come through to your agents. So how do you see AI playing a part in that? How important is this human interaction? What can technology tools do to enable that when they get to the human element?
That's such a great question. I think that if I take us back kind of 5 to 10 years, the kind of when AI first started to come into call centers, and there was many conferences and speaker slots and the like that would question, is this the death of the contact center? AI was going to replace the contact center, and I never subscribed to that team, and still don't. And I think it's been demonstrated now that AI is it's an assistant, it's a helper, it's an enabler for business, but it will never physically replace the contact center agent. And I think we can use the AI in a way that it will deal with those mundane, boring tasks that nobody really wants to take up or that are very transactional. But it enables then that when a true conversation is required with a human being, that we are recruiting people that have those interpersonal skills that enable them to have a conversation with the customer in a way that is very personal and it is about a relationship. And that AI can still assist us to do that. It can help the agent come to be much more competent, much more professional by delivering relevant knowledge articles to them whilst they're talking to the customer. That it can take the customer's comments and through analysis deliver the answer to the agent in such a way that it feels very natural, and that the conversation that then is happening can be very personal.
Right, because conversation is the most important element in making
Absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I really like what you said about considering contact center as like a career, right? People have this idea of what it means to be a contact center agent, and tell me more about what you would recommend to make that your career. How do you grow in that? What are the outcomes that you can get to?
Do you know, again, that's a great question. It's I always used to say to my family, nobody ever woke up one morning and said, "Do you know what? I want a career in a contact center." Until now. I think that genuinely, it is seen as a true career path now. The contact center is a business in its own right. And yes, we might start as a contact center agent. And it used to be that the typical journey, therefore, was contact center agent into a team manager or an operations manager or a contact center manager, maybe a side move into training or something like that. The opportunities now are vast. They go in every other part of the business. Within that contact center environment, there's, as I say, there is training, but there's also IT, there is finance, there is marketing, there's every aspect of every business exists within a contact center. And yeah, some people will see the agent role as being that entry level into that marketplace. Some people are quite happy to be agents. It's what that's what they want to do. And thankfully, we're all individuals and we all have different aspirations in life. And a contact center can satisfy any of those aspirations.
Well, I think it's a beautiful space as well because, like we said, people reserve these phone calls for big issues. Usually it's when they have a problem, and sometimes it's a pretty serious problem. And you mentioned soft skills in your talk and how important that is. And I feel like being a contact center agent and being able to reassure someone who's going through a really stressful situation, who needs help, that's an amazing skill, both in the workplace and, as you said, outside in their outside environments. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's essential to have that ability to communicate with somebody and to empathise with that person's need. Look, nobody ever phones a contact centre to say, "Hey guys, just wanted to tell you, good job." People call contact centres because they have a problem. In my dark and distant past, I once ran a contact centre for an emergency doctor service. Well, I used to have to say to my staff, remember, everybody that's calling you is either feeling unwell or really worried about somebody that's feeling unwell.
Right.
And in the world I work in now, where we're dealing with business communication platforms, these are critical tools for people to operate their business. And as I say, they're not phoning to say, "I just wanted to let you know it's all going well." They're phoning because they either aren't able to do something they want to, or something isn't working the way it was working yesterday, but whatever that is, there's a challenge that they want to overcome. And so we, as the contact center team, need to be able to empathise with that problem, to understand the issue from that customer's perspective. And all of that is much, much more simple to do if you have those right kind of empathetic soft skills that enable you to understand the issue from that other person's point of view.
Right. So again, brings it back to the agent, making sure the agent is happy, understands the bigger picture.
Most valuable asset in the business.
Yeah, I love that. So you mentioned a few things we can do to help keep agents happy. I would love for you to share them again here.
Oh, wow, there's so much. I think, look, it starts with the onboarding. Onboarding is the most key part of bringing somebody into a business. It's that old thing about you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Right.
Well, onboarding is your elongated first impression. So it's important that we adapt that onboarding to the skills and needs of the people that we are bringing into our businesses. We need to make it flexible and engaging. So use different styles. So I talked about using some bite-sized training, or perhaps some entertainment, some gaming. All these things that help people to understand your business, but also give them the opportunity to know that they're there to enjoy themselves. To meet their colleagues. I think it's such an important part of that onboarding exercise is building the community that's going to be your friendship group, if you like, in the working environment.
Right.
There's so much more. I'm very fortunate working for RingCentral. RingCentral was a business that when I was joining, like most businesses, told me all about how wonderful it was and what a team we are, and we're like family and everyone loves one another. And I, like everybody else, thought, okay, well, we'll see. But it genuinely has been that type of company to work for.
That's amazing.
And because we're able to see that in our own company, we're able then to take that and help other businesses, our clients, develop it in theirs. So onboarding is key, but we've got to go beyond that. We've got to look at then beyond the onboarding, how do we coach people? How do we help them to develop their selves and their skills? And then how do we make their job easy for them? So use the right AI tools, use the right the right systems that make that job the easiest thing for that person, because then they'll come back.
Absolutely. We actually we've done onboarding sessions as well. We have 2 Ascensos agents actually taking live calls from our stand right now, and so we did bite-sized videos for them on how to learn how to use Iris Clarity, and that was definitely something.
No, it's really important, and it gives people the opportunity to learn things. And I think particularly we need to consider the fact that I used to jokingly say I wouldn't employ anybody who was born after I left school. Now, unfortunately, that's made the talent pool really, really small now. And so we have to recognise that we employ a much younger generation, and that generation, be it for good or bad, are very tech savvy, but very short in attention span often. And so sitting somebody down and trying to train them all day long in something is far less effective than those bite-sized pieces, using technology to enable somebody to take on board the message, fully digest it, and move forward with the practice.
And you mentioned 1/3 of agents are now working from home, so that's another way that we need to build team building, team efforts, and connect people. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, RingCentral's strapline is work from anywhere. So we're great exponents of the idea of working from home. And so we make sure that our tools and solutions enable that to work. That said, when we look at making agents happy, making agents want to come to work, that personal interaction is key as well. So we make it very much a thing in our business that we hybrid mix. So people have the ability to work from home, works very, very well, particularly with the tools that we have available, and particularly with the use of tools like Iris Clarity, which because we've all had that world over through the pandemic and such, like people got well used to the dog barking in the background, or the postman knocking on the door, or the baby crying in the other room. And I think there's a bit of a mix in that. I think some of that's quite nice. I think customers now are very accepting of that, and it gives the opportunity to have that much more personal conversation. But similarly, it's important that we operate in a professional manner, and therefore 100%. Having that opportunity to cancel out that personal life piece is really key.
Yeah, I think we're completely on the same page with that. We say Iris Clarity helps you give you control in uncontrollable environments. Gives you that professional element, which is important to maintain. Absolutely. No, this is great. Well, it was really great listening to your talk.
Thank you very much.
Love seeing what RingCentral offers, and thank you so much for stopping by.
Not at all. It's great to talk with you.